What's up, adventurers? This is the Grand Canyon, and that is our campsite last night. Not bad, right? So when I planned this trip, I wanted to explore more of the North Rim area through the Kaibab National Forest coming out and end up in a camp spot that overlooked the Grand Canyon. Now, I am quite literally on the edge of the canyon. This is awesome. This right here is a rainbow trail, which is both a hiking and mountain bike trail. So if you want to bring your mountain bikes, you can ride this and it just follows along. So before I get too far into the details of where we are right now, I want to show you the route and how we got here, because on the east side of the canyon, coming in from Vermillion Cliffs, is where the road was super chunky. We basically took a ridiculous road to get up to the top, went into the canyon, did a little hiking around, and now we're here, and then we're gonna head out through a different route, coming out on the west side, up to Fredonia, and then on to California for some more adventures. So let's go back to the beginning and I'll show you how we got here. So behind me is Vermillion Cliffs, and in front of us is the North Rim of the Grand Canyon. And we're coming in on Forest Service roads rather than the main road to camp somewhere up in those high elevation areas tonight, so that we're facing east for the sunrise in the morning, and then tomorrow night after our hiking we'll be on the other side on some of those campgrounds, you know, just dispersed camping areas, so that we're facing west for the sunset tomorrow. So right now we're just heading down this road, and we're just going to let a little bit of air out of the tires to smooth the ride a little bit, because it's a little washboardy. From Highway 89A on the south side of Vermillion Cliffs, turn south on Buffalo Ranch Road and drive down it a little ways. This eventually becomes Forest Service Road 8910, also known as House Rock Lower. Soon enough, this road splits and you'll want to take Tater Ridge to the right. This is where things start to get fun, but it had been a long day, the troops were weary, so we stopped just into it at the first camp spot we found. I'm pretty bad about pushing some really long days, and as usual we stopped just as it was getting dark, so it was a quick dinner, a little stargazing, then off to bed. As planned though, the sunrise was amazing. I set up this time lapse the night before without knowing where the sun would be, and well, the tree blocked it. We only gained a couple hundred feet of elevation the night before, and it was steep enough that I sent the drone up to do a little recon. My van is only rear-wheel drive, but it has a spacer lift and proper all-terrain tires, so I don't mind pushing it a little bit. As you'll soon see, we pushed it to the limit, literally. But the drone recon looked okay, and the road was wide enough that we could always turn around, so off we went. Tater Ridge starts at about 5,600 feet of elevation. It ends at 8,700 feet. So we were about to gain more than 3,000 feet of elevation in just under 35 miles before exiting on the Highway 67, which is the main road leading into Grand Canyon's North Rim's Visitor Center. There are a few things you should know about this area. For starters, once you get onto Tater Ridge, you're officially in the Kaibab National Forest. This means boondocking is allowed, and there is a massive network of Forest Service roads to explore. Like, seriously, so many roads, especially on the western side. Second, the flora changes dramatically as you gain elevation. At lower elevations you'll find Colorado pinyon pine, Utah juniper, and alligator juniper. As you go up, it switches to ponderosa pine, Douglas fir, white fir, and groves of quaking aspen. At the highest elevations, you'll see Engelmann spruce, blue spruce, and subalpine corkbark fir. The forest is very different on the east and west sides too. Honestly, it's like two completely different landscapes, which makes doing this route even more worthwhile. It's also worth noting that we made this trip literally 3 days before the 2025 Dragon Bravo fire wiped out much of the North Rim's facilities. I am so grateful that we got to take the family here before it was destroyed, and even more grateful that lightning strike didn't happen while we were out there. As of this video going live, the North Rim is partially open again, seasonally of course, and you can still explore the vast network of Forest Service roads throughout the Kaibab National Forest. Just some areas might look a little different now. As we climbed, the trail got tighter and the trees kept inching taller. But like so much of the West, it's never so dense that a drone can't see you, and give you a nice post-trip perspective of where you were. Tater Ridge is mostly an uphill slog, but there are a few descents to navigate. if you've noticed my rear tires spinning, there's two reasons for this. First, it's only rear-wheel drive, and I haven't added a locker. Second, on some terrain, I turn traction control off because it has a tendency to cut power at the worst possible times. This is mostly an issue when trying to power through soft sand, but it's worth playing with if things just don't feel right when you're trying to get through loose terrain. I'm pretty sure I need new shocks too. I didn't realize how bouncy the rear end had gotten until I started editing this video. I guess a 10,000 pound van makes short work of stock suspension. If I had to rate this trail's difficulty, I'd say maybe a 3 to 4 for a proper 4-wheel drive truck or SUV. For my van, probably a 5 to 6. It's heavy, but honestly, that weight helps with traction. This was my first really aggressive test of the Nokian Tires Outpost NAT. I forgot exactly what I aired down to, probably between 45 to 50 psi, which sounds like a lot, but two things. First, these are incredibly supple tires. Even at 50 psi, they deform and mold to the trail really well.
What was that? Man, I know there were some big rocks.
Yeah, you're good, go. I'll do a full review of these separately, so for now, enough about tires. Tater Ridge is pretty much all rock over hardpack. Sometimes it's little loose rocks, and sometimes it's bigger embedded rocks, and sometimes they have square edge faces that need a few attempts, or a couple of volunteer rocks to make ramps. The nice thing about getting out the film is that I see it from a different perspective. Having a few extra drivers helps. It's always a balancing act of spending as much time as I'd like filming and making headway on the trip. It's tough to put the cameras away when there's something awesome around every corner. But still, we wanted to get into the park and hike a little before heading off to the west to find a campsite. Today was a very full day, and it ain't even close to being over. The closer we got to the top, the taller the trees got, but there was still plenty of sun exposure. More than once we had to stop to let the engine rest, or let the transmission cool. There were multiple warnings on the dash throughout the morning. Eventually, we popped out on the Highway 67 and into the Grand Canyon. The sun was still relatively low, not quite noon, and the buffalo were out in herds. After the requisite stop at the visitor center, we started down the North Kaibab Trail with the goal of making it to the first bridge. This is the trail that leads down to the bottom and back up the other side if you're doing the rim-to-rim hike. Bring lots of water and good shoes. It is steep. We're in pretty good shape and we're still hiking for about 3 hours. After some snacks on the bridge, it was back up and up and up and up. Fortunately, there's a very cold, refreshing spigot at the trailhead to refill bottles and douse yourself with. Then, it was off to the campsite. From the trail, head north on 67 until you pass out of the national park and back in the national forest. Here, it's game on for exploring and finding a killer spot to sleep. We pulled off on the West Side Road, then turned on the VT Ridge, then Forest Road 222, then 6852, 206, 271, and finally 294, which is a 7-mile road leading to Locust Point. Alright, so this is literally why I wanted to come back to the Grand Canyon to camp. Besides seeing the canyon, of course, is here's our parking spot, and here's the Grand Canyon. Not bad. Not bad at all. And so we went down the spur called Locust Point. There's also a fence and some other ones that go up along that ridge there, and each one of them is a spur off of another Forest Service roads, and they're about 7 miles out, so you do take a little bit of a risk coming out to these points, but there are plenty of pullouts along each one of them. And I saw this as a backup. We went to the end, there were some people camping there, and it actually wasn't even as good. Like, literally, my van is 20 feet from the edge of the canyon, and you just can't beat this view. Sunset is going to be right over there, so this is absolutely worth the trip. So the exit plan for tomorrow is to head up some different roads and check out some other little trails that kind of run pretty close to the edge, and end up in Fredonia, and then we're hitting the main road to head out west to hit some stuff up in Sequoia. So till then, I will see you in the morning where we hit some more trails. For our grand exit, we stayed on the west side of the main road, and after driving back in from Locust Point, we headed north on Dry Park Ridge Road, aka FS 206, and took that until Big Saddle B Spring, or FR 425. If you needed the shortcut and exit to the northwest, 206 connects directly to Forest Service Road 22, aka West Side Road, which is a bigger road that gets you out quickly and easily. But I wanted to explore a little more, so we went deeper into the forest. If you were to look at this area on Onyx, you'd realize that it is an absolute maze. So mapping your route in advance is critical, because cell service here is spotty at best, mostly non-existent. Or at least download the map of the area in advance so you can navigate and find an alternate route in case a road is unexpectedly closed. There is a lot of road out here, and while some of it is surprisingly well graded and maintained, it's also entirely likely you could come across a down tree or some other hazard that forces you to backtrack. From 425, we got into 292, or Crazy Jug Point. During recon, this looked like it ran close to the canyon's edge. In reality, you can't see the forest or the canyon for the trees. So I do like to stop and get out and check out some of these little parks and open areas that you just find like randomly in nature. It's super cool, and this little detour has opened up to a few of these, and honestly I just kind of saw this and I wanted to stop because I missed it, which literally says nothing, but still just so pretty out here. Definitely recommend taking it slow and checking out whatever catches your eye as you're driving along. Big Jug is a short detour loop that rejoins 425, and that road runs in a gully. It slopes slowly down, deeper into the woods. It's beautiful, and we'd seen plenty of canyon already. With the land rising up on either side, this has a really cool effect of making you feel like you're in your own little canyon. Maybe not somewhere you'd want to drive in a heavy rain, but gorgeous to drive through. So that last little loop empties out to this pretty wild little cow corral. Definitely not in use anymore, but it is a neat little finish. That little loop was just sort of driving through a valley for, I don't know, quite a few miles actually. It was really, really beautiful and a nice little finish to it. This puts us back out onto the main dirt roads that will lead to the main paved roads and onto Fredonia, and then from there it's a hop, skip, and a jump to Vegas or wherever else you might want to be going from that general area. If you're going to do this route, I definitely recommend starting from the east near Vermillion Cliffs, because coming up Tater Ridge would be far preferable to coming down it. It's a super technical, super chunky drive, as you saw. Definitely recommend a four-wheel drive vehicle. I was maybe not the best decision to do that in the van, but it was super fun and I'm glad we did it. I highly recommend this adventure. And I highly recommend the north rim of the Grand Canyon, especially if you can hit it on the shoulder seasons before they close the road for the winter, because there will basically be nobody there and you'll have the place to yourself. There is also no cell service throughout most of it. Very, very spotty and weak throughout the rest. A little bit better view of that. And my family is absolutely over it, ready for me to be done filming. They decided to drive up the road without me a little bit to make a point. So anyway, if you like this video, hit like, hit subscribe, stay tuned for more awesome trail routes and guides and other adventures. Until next time, keep it right side up and keep on adventuring. Still here? Good, because I thought we were just getting out on a little simple dirt road. The truth is, that was one of the coolest stretches that we drove, going down through a valley and then out through some canyons. So stick around, here's a little bit of bonus footage. The GPX files for the routes that we did for all 3 days here are in this video's description, so you can follow along this route if you like what you see. So got a couple of minutes of just random video of our exit out from the North Rim, all the way headed toward Fredonia, and this is officially our exit from the Kaibab National Forest. So thanks a ton for watching, enjoy the rest of this video, and see you in the next one.